Welcome to This Explainer. I am so incredibly pumped you're here today because we're diving into what is literally the ultimate foundational guide for your digital life. We're looking at the essential Microsoft Office Handbook. Whether you're trying to boost your own daily productivity, maybe get a huge jumpstart on your classes, or absolutely level up your career, mastering these tools is without a doubt step number one. We're going to break this whole software suite down into bite-sized, totally manageable chunks. We'll go step by step so you really grasp not just the how, but the why behind all these apps. So, grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's start building that digital confidence.
So, want to learn Microsoft Office from scratch? If you're nodding right now, trust me, you are in the exact right place. Look, I get it. Sometimes just opening a new computer and staring at that blinking cursor or looking at some endless, massive spreadsheet, it can trigger some very real tech anxiety. It kind of feels like everybody else was taught this secret language, right? Well, we are going to totally demystify all of that today. Our source material is designed specifically to make learning Word, Excel, and PowerPoint ridiculously easy and approachable. Starting from absolute zero, that is completely okay. We're going to build this foundation together from the ground up.
And really, this toolkit is perfect for pretty much everyone. If you're a student, well, this is exactly how you're going to write those big research papers and put together your presentations. Complete beginner? Consider this your safe, structured entry point. Doing everyday office work? These are the exact tools you'll use to hit up clients and organize projects. But here is the real kicker. It is a massive USA job skill. Knowing MS Office is consistently ranked as an absolute must-have across almost every industry. In fact, corporate recruiters literally use software to scan resumes just looking for Office proficiency. So yeah, this isn't just about making computer tasks easier. It's quite literally about getting your resume straight to the top of the pile.
All right, let's jump into Section 1, Essential USA Job Skills. What actually is MS Office?
Before we get into the weeds, let's figure out what this toolkit actually is. Microsoft Office isn't just one giant monolithic program that does everything. Actually, it's a collection of software. Think of it exactly like a digital toolbox, where every single tool inside has a very specific job. You wouldn't use a hammer to cut a plank of wood, right? Same thing here. You wouldn't use a spreadsheet to write a formal cover letter. According to the handbook, this collection is used for four main things: documents, calculations, presentations, and general office work. When you sit at a desk in the modern workplace, this is what you're doing. By learning this suite, you've always got the right tool for the job, no matter what your boss or your professor throws your way.
Okay, let's dive into this and move to Section 2. Meet the big three core programs.
So let's put some names to those tools we were just talking about. Number 1, Microsoft Word. Number 2, Microsoft Excel. And number 3, Microsoft PowerPoint. I honestly love thinking about it this way because it gives us a super clear mental map. You really don't need to be an expert in every single software on Earth all at once. You just need to march through these big three. Word is your go-to for text. Excel is the beast that handles numbers. And PowerPoint, that's your stage for presenting ideas to a room. They're basically the three massive pillars of the modern workplace. Today, we're really focusing in on those first two, just to make sure you get the absolute strongest start possible.
Moving right along. Section 3, Mastering MS Word, the communicator.
All right, MS Word. This is your ultimate tool to write documents, create resumes, draft letters, and build school projects. Whenever you have something important to say, this is exactly where it happens. And I really want you to focus on the real-world outcomes here. This isn't just about typing black text onto a white screen. It's about projecting your absolute best professional self to the world. A clean, sharp resume built in Word, that is how you make an unforgettable first impression. Drafting a persuasive letter or totally nailing a school project, these are the tangible ways we share ideas. Word gives you that blank canvas so your ideas look just as brilliant on the page as they did in your head. Let's run through the features that make this happen. MS Word lets you do your basic typing and text formatting. You can easily insert images and, of course, safely save and print your files. But don't just think of this as some dry checklist. Imagine this scenario. You're typing up notes for a super important meeting. You quickly make the main headings bold so they really pop, you drop in a quick image to make your point crystal clear, and boom, you safely save it to your computer in seconds. When you combine these totally intuitive features, you get amazing stuff. Polished resumes, A+ assignments, official letters, or even just a beautifully kept daily journal. Okay, here's a real pro tip for you. Let's talk shortcut keys. Control-S to save, Control-C to copy, and Control-V to paste. Memorizing these three keyboard combos is literally going to feel like a magic trick for your daily workflow. Seriously, it's going to save you hours of your life over the long run and keep you from getting that awful wrist cramp from clicking drop-down menus all day. Just hold Control and hit S and bam, your document is saved. Control-C grabs your highlighted text and Control-V drops it exactly where you need it. It's nailing these little everyday efficiencies that takes you from a total beginner to a highly capable word power user. Game changer, for sure.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 4, MS Excel Basics, the organizer.
transitioning from our text communicator over to our data organizer. Now, I know for a lot of folks, just hearing the word Excel is incredibly intimidating. But seriously, do not panic. MS Excel is simply used for calculations, creating tables, managing data, and making charts. That's really it. At its core, Excel is just a highly structured way to look at information. Whether it's a household budget, business inventory, or a crazy complex schedule, Excel is just a digital grid built to keep everything perfectly organized and visually clear. You do not need to be a math genius or a programmer to use it. You just need to understand the basic geography of the screen.
And we're going to demystify that geography right now by looking at a few essential terms. The first foundational building block is a row. In Excel, a row runs horizontally, straight across your screen from left to right. Think about writing a grocery list on a standard piece of lined notebook paper. Each horizontal line, that's basically a row. Think of a row as the complete story of one single item, like one person's contact info or one specific expense in your monthly budget. Reading straight across that horizontal line gives you the whole picture for that one entry.
Next up in our puzzle is the column. So while rows go side to side horizontally, columns run vertically, straight up and down. Think of those massive stone pillars holding up a classic building. Those are columns. In Excel, you use columns to sort specific categories of data. For example, you might dedicate one entire vertical column just to a list of first names and the very next vertical column entirely to their phone numbers. This cool contrast between horizontal rows and vertical columns, that is exactly how you build that powerful structured grid that makes Excel so universally awesome.
Which brings us to the final and probably most crucial definition, the cell. A cell is that individual, single little box right where a row and a column intersect. What's really interesting about this is that when you look at a spreadsheet, you're essentially just looking at thousands of these little boxes. The cell is where the actual magic happens. It's where you type your stuff. Every single word, every dollar amount, every piece of math you do lives inside its own distinct cell. Once you understand how these cells sit inside rows and columns, you totally understand the fundamental structure of data management. You've officially cracked the Excel code.
And just like that, you know the core mechanics of the most used Office suite on the planet. We've mapped out the big programs, looked at the communication power of the word canvas, and untangled the grid of Excel. So, you have the tools. What are you going to build first? Because that's what these programs are, powerful blank tools waiting for your ideas. Whether you're typing up that sharp resume to land your dream job or building a robust spreadsheet to run a brand new small business, you now possess the foundational USA job skills to actually make it happen. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Go open up a blank document, get your hands dirty, and I absolutely
Welcome to today's explainer. Today we're unpacking something that is absolutely foundational to our modern professional and academic lives, the essential Microsoft Office Handbook. We're going to break down the absolute essentials of this powerful suite so you can tackle literally any digital task with confidence. So let's jump right in.
Want to learn Microsoft Office from scratch? Honestly, it's a question millions of us ask ourselves every single year. If you've ever stared blankly at a screen, knowing you need to create a professional document or, say, organize a really messy list of numbers, but just felt completely unsure of where to start, you're exactly in the right place. We're starting from the ground floor today and building up your digital workflow brick by brick.
So, who is this actually for? Well, this foundational knowledge caters to incredibly broad needs. It's perfect for students needing to turn in flawless assignments, absolute beginners mastering the basics, and just your everyday office work. But here's the real kicker, it is a crucial pillar of USA job skills. This toolkit isn't just software, it's practically a universal requirement for unlocking career opportunities in today's modern workforce.
Here's our quick roadmap for the explainer. First, the MS Office Toolkit. Second, Word, your document powerhouse. Third, shortcuts for working smarter. And fourth, Excel, mastering the numbers.
All right, Section 1, the MS Office Toolkit. Let's unbox this and see what's inside. Think of Microsoft Office as, well, your digital Swiss Army knife. Basically, it's a collection of software applications bundled together, but each one is designed to solve a very specific problem: writing documents, running calculations, delivering presentations, and handling general office work. When you walk into a job interview and say you're proficient here, employers instantly know you can handle the necessary digital communication to keep their business running.
When we pop open the box, we find these three main tools looking back at us. We've got Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, PowerPoint is fantastic for visual presentations, for sure. But to keep our learning incredibly focused today, we're really going to zero in on demystifying the first two, Word and Excel. These are your twin engines of productivity.
Moving right along to Section 2, Word, your document powerhouse.
To quote the source material directly here, MS Word is used to write documents, create resumes, letters, and school projects. Think of it as your digital blank canvas. Before you ever hit send on an email to a boss or print out a cover letter for your dream job, Word is the laboratory where you draft, edit, and totally perfect your professional voice.
There's this really logical progression from a blank screen to a finished printed file. Let's walk through it. First up, typing, just getting those raw thoughts down. Then, step 2 is text formatting. This is where you make it look professional, making titles bold, organizing paragraphs, creating clean lists. Step 3 lets you insert images to give things some visual impact. Step 4 is absolutely crucial, saving documents so you never lose your hard work. And finally, step 5, print files, giving you a tangible result. It's a perfect step-by-step workflow.
To really ground this, just think about your daily tasks. A resume to showcase your career history, an assignment to prove what you've learned in class, an office letter for formal business communication, or literally just jotting down your daily notes. Think of all the text-based tasks you have. Word is the tool that handles every single one. It is incredibly versatile.
Okay, Section 3. Shortcuts for working smarter. Let's learn how to speed things up.
You've absolutely got to memorize this sequence. The Control key plus the S key. This rapid-fire shortcut is a total lifesaver. It instantly saves your document. I mean, imagine typing for 3 hours on a brilliant essay, and boom, the power goes out. If you haven't been hitting Control plus S, yeah, that work is gone. Make it a muscle memory reflex for sure.
Next up, grab this shortcut to pull information quickly. Control plus C equals copy text. Honestly, this is arguably the foundation of modern office work. Instead of manually retyping a long paragraph or a complex web address, you just highlight it, hit Control-C, and the computer silently memorizes it for you. It holds it right there in its digital hand, waiting for your next command.
And then you seamlessly drop it wherever it needs to go using Control plus V to paste. It's like the second half of a magic trick. You copied it with C, and now you place it down with V. Using Control-C and Control-V together is going to save you endless hours of retyping over your career. It completely eliminates the risk of making a typo when transferring info. Seriously, a total game changer.
So let's pivot beautifully from words over to numbers to understand the core difference between our two main programs. We use Word when we need to write documents, sentences, paragraphs, human language. But when we transition over to Microsoft Excel, we enter the realm of calculations. Excel speaks the language of math, logic, and structure. It literally thrives on order. Which brings us to our final section, Section 4. Excel, mastering the numbers.
Look, I know just hearing the word spreadsheet causes a little bit of anxiety for some of us, but Excel isn't something to be intimidated by. It's simply a tool built to keep complex data perfectly managed. It handles calculations so you don't make math mistakes. It creates tables to keep information neatly aligned. It offers data management so you can sort and filter huge lists in seconds, and it generates charts, turning a boring list of numbers into a beautiful visual graph.
And understanding the software's basic anatomy is actually way simpler than it sounds. If you can grasp just 3 terms, you can master any spreadsheet. A row runs horizontally, a column runs vertically, and right where a row and a column intersect, they form a cell. That is where your data lives. Every single thing you do in Excel, no matter how advanced, happens inside a cell. It's basically just a giant, highly intelligent piece of graph paper.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick thought to kickstart your own digital toolkit journey. Word for your resume, Excel for your data. So which tool are you going to master first? Are you going to dive into Word and craft that perfect cover letter to land a dream job? Or are you going to open up Excel and finally automate your monthly budget into a beautiful spreadsheet? The choice is entirely yours, but the important thing is that you just start. You have the map, you know what the tools do, and now it's time to build. Thank you so much for learning with me today.
Welcome to this explainer. Today we're opening up the Essential Microsoft Office Handbook. You know, it's really easy to just overlook these programs as your run-of-the-mill basic software, but honestly, they essentially form the digital infrastructure of almost every modern professional environment out there. Understanding how to leverage this suite is kind of like unlocking a universal toolkit for your career. So let's dive right in and explore exactly how these foundational tools can totally empower your workflow. Want to learn Microsoft Office from scratch? Well, if the answer is yes, you are absolutely not alone. It's actually incredibly common to feel kind of overwhelmed by digital tools, or maybe you just feel like you missed out on learning the basics somewhere along the line. But here's the reality. You do not need a background in computer science to get comfortable with this stuff. We're going to build up this knowledge from the absolute ground up, keeping the complex stuff simple and straightforward as we go through it together. So who is this actually for? Well, perfect candidates include students, beginners, people doing general office work, and anyone looking to boost their USA job skills. Whether you're a student trying to format a term paper, a total beginner stepping into the professional world for the very first time, or someone specifically aiming for office work, this foundation is for you. And hey, if you're looking to build up those USA job skills, this is practically non-negotiable. Proficiency in Microsoft Office consistently ranks as one of the most highly sought-after qualifications by employers all across the United States. It's basically the universal language of modern business. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. First, the Ultimate Office Toolkit. Second, mastering Microsoft Word. Third, essential keyboard shortcuts. And fourth, making sense of Excel. Let's get into it. Starting things off with Section 1, the Ultimate Office Toolkit, building a foundation. Before we actually start using the tools, we really need to know what's in the toolbox, right? Basically, MS Office is a collection of software. It's a bundle of distinct applications designed to handle very specific tasks. We're talking documents, calculations, presentations, and just general office work. Mastering these interconnected elements is truly one of the absolute most important computer skills you can develop, especially for the USA job market. It instantly signals to an employer, hey, I can seamlessly handle the daily operations of a modern business. Now, inside that collection, we have the main programs. Number 1, Microsoft Word. Number 2, Microsoft Excel. And number 3, Microsoft PowerPoint. Word, Excel, PowerPoint. These are the heavy hitters, guys. Now, PowerPoint is a fantastic visual tool, specifically for presentations. But today we're really going to deep dive into the core text and data tools that make up the vast bulk of your daily administrative tasks. Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering Microsoft Word, your document builder. Let's look at a typical workflow. MS Word is primarily used to write documents, create resumes, draft letters, and structure school projects. This directly translates to your professional and academic output. Whether you're trying to structure a super complex essay or you're crafting a resume to land that dream interview, Word is basically your blank canvas for all of your critical communication. So what can it actually do? The key features of MS Word include typing, text formatting, inserting images, saving documents, and printing files. Now, I really want to focus on that second point, text formatting, because this is where the real value unlocks. I mean, anyone can just type words onto a screen, right? But discovering how to bold, italicize, align, and properly structure your text, that is exactly what transforms a messy block of words into an incredibly professional-looking resume. To put that into perspective, some everyday example uses range from a resume and a school assignment to an official office letter, or honestly, simply jotting down notes during a morning meeting. The true beauty of Word is just its sheer versatility. It scales perfectly. It goes from an informal little list of daily tasks all the way up to a formalized cover letter that could literally change your career trajectory. All right, Section 3, Essential Keyboard Shortcuts, working faster. Okay, so once you know how to actually use these programs, the very next step is learning how to use them with speed to literally shave hours off your week. The first, absolutely crucial shortcut is Control+S, which means Save Document. Look, I think we've all experienced that shared cold sweat panic of working on a brilliant school project for hours, only for the computer to completely freeze up on us, right? Well, Control+S is your best defense against that nightmare. Hit it early, hit it often, and save your hard work in a fraction of a second. Next up on the list, we have Control+C, which stands for copy text. Instead of painfully retyping a beautifully worded paragraph from an old cover letter, you simply highlight it, press Control+C, and bam, the computer's invisible clipboard just grabs it right for you. It is without a doubt the ultimate method for duplicating your best work effortlessly. And of course, you really can't have copy without paste. So Control+V is paste text, and it perfectly pairs with Control+C. Once you've copied that awesome paragraph, you just navigate over to your new document, hit Control+V, and your text drops exactly where you need it. Honestly, mastering this incredibly satisfying copy-paste workflow will truly make you feel like an absolute wizard at your keyboard. And finally, Section 4, Making Sense of Excel, Mastering Data. Okay, let's compare for a second. While MS Word handles your documents, letters, and resumes, MS Excel is your master for calculations, tables, and data management. Think about it kind of like this. Word is the environment for your sentences and stories, right? Well, Excel is the dedicated structured space for your numbers, lists, and math. They really operate as two sides of the same highly productive coin. Breaking it down a bit further, Excel is used specifically for calculations, tables, data management, and charts. Let's continue our practical theme here. Imagine you're out there applying for jobs. You could use Excel to build this highly organized table tracking the company name, the exact date you applied, and the current status of your application. The software automatically keeps all your data neat, tidy, and instantly searchable. Now, I know Excel can look super intimidating, but the power of it really just comes down to 3 fundamental building blocks. First, a row, which runs horizontally left to right. Second, a column, which runs vertically, straight up and down. And third, a cell, which is just the single, individual rectangular box right where a row and a column intersect. Row, column, cell. That's it. That forms the entire grid, I promise you. Once you grasp that every single piece of data just lives inside its own specific little cell, the whole mystery of how Excel operates just completely disappears. So here's my question for you. Now that you know the building blocks of Word and Excel, which resume or project will you build first? I mean, you have the ultimate virtual toolkit outlined right in front of you. You know the foundational programs, you've got the time-saving shortcuts, and you know exactly how to logically navigate those tricky grids of Excel. The only thing left to do is to open up the software and just start building. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer to explore these incredibly valuable skills, and I seriously cannot wait to see what you create with